Hi, my name is Steve Maruzzi. We're here at the training center. With us today is Larry Sundberg and Nick Cruz from Michael Sales. This video is to show how to remove the heat exchangers for either cleaning or replacement on a Pennant or Mighty Therm2 boiler. For starters, we're going to remove gas and electric to the boiler, and then we're going to remove the jackets on the heat exchangers. The boiler we currently have in front of us is a small Pennant 500. This can also be done on the Mighty Therm2. There are 4 5/16 screws currently on this cover. 2 on the front corners, one here, and 2 on the back corners. One on the left corner, one on the right corner. The larger the boiler, a 2 million BTU boiler, may have more screws holding the top jacket down. Just identify them and remove them.
Seems pretty obvious.
Okay. This top jacket has to come off first. Keep in mind, you're going to have venting or breaching. You're going to want to disconnect that vent or breach, at least being able to get the top panel off. On some units, depending on the model number, there'll be multiple 5/16 screws to the top plate. These will have to come off. Currently on this boiler, we're going to take these off and this top flue collection plate off.
Along the sides and the back there may be clips. Let's go into place here.
So those clips will hold the top jacket to the side panels. You will have to reach in from the inside, take these out of position, as well as the screws to lift the panel off. Next, we're going to take the back jacket off the boiler. So remove all of your 5/16 screws from the back jacket. There are going to be a couple on the inside. And on this boiler, we'll have 2 screws, one in each corner, on the top right and left hand corners. So now with it exposed, we have a couple of options here. We can take the heat exchanger out the back. So in other words, that back plate can come off and your heat exchanger can slide out of position. You will need about 18-inch clearance minimum for that to happen, because you'll have to slide it and lift it up out of position with a couple of men. Or you can take the whole top deck off and take the heat exchanger out from the top. And lastly, you could take the front plate off and slide it out the front. For this video, we're going to show removal of the heat exchanger from the back of the boiler. That is going to be your easiest option. But again, you need to make sure you have clearance. On a couple of cases, I'm aware that they disconnected the gas and electric and actually slid the boiler forward on the concrete pad so they could get that heat exchanger out. So first of all, for removal of the back plate, we have a series of 5/16 screws on the bottom and on the top. And the ones on the top are actually under the insulation, okay? And that will continue to come across on even the flue collection. And on a couple of models, this flue collection is actually covered here, so you'll have to reach down where the breech is to take those off. On some of the boilers, you'll also have the electrical panel, and this plate is actually on top of those screws. So you'll have to remove the 5/16 screws for the electrical block to lift that up and remove the lower screws. The other option is to use an open end or box wrench to get in for the 5/16 screws. On the flue collection box, there are going to be 2 screws for the flue collection. That's not holding this back panel, but that will be in your way when you go to pull the back panel out. So remove all of the back screws on the flue collection. Keep in mind, some of the models, this is blocked off. You'll be reaching down from the top to remove those screws. Also, holding this back plate are a couple of bolts with nuts, and you'll have to remove them. There's 4 of those, one on each corner. You may have to loosen and take your side panel off to gain access to the inside.
On the Pennant and Copper Brute 2, you'll have to remove the screws holding the side panel in place. They are groove locks, so when you get these screws out, and then lift them up out of their groove locks to gain access to the bolt.
You will have to remove the header for the new tube plate or when you're pulling the heat exchanger. So we'll have sensors in position or capillaries for your limits or a two-stage control depending on the model number. So we're going to show you flathead or Phillips head screw to remove that sensor and the brackets. We will remove these sensors next. Some models may be built pump mounted. And we will want to take the volute for the pump off. Larry will remove the pump cover. He's already removed those two screws, and now he'll continue to remove everything here, including the screws, to slide this panel back. He will also remove the electrical for the pump itself. So now with all the screws removed, they're actually going to take the back plate off. Now also, on larger sizes, you're going to have two bolts that holds the cross member from the heat exchanger so the heat exchanger doesn't bow. You're going to take those two bolts off and then you can take the back wall out once everything's undone. So now what we have here is the back refractory block. You can inspect the top of the heat exchanger as well. If you are replacing this heat exchanger or pulling it out for cleaning, you may want to already order refractory tile to have on hand. In a lot of cases you will damage or break this. Also, anytime working with refractory material, you should be using a mask or respirator just in case you get the airborne type particles. On the smaller sizes, such as this is a 500,000, there's only one block. But on the larger sizes, they're going to be puzzle pieced together, and you'll have multiple. That's why you want to be very cautious with them that you don't break them. Again, use some type of mask or respirator. All I did in this case was I just took the Phillips, the flathead screwdriver, and loosened it at a couple of spots to take it forward and take it out of position. Okay, on either end of the header, there are going to be 8 screws. There are 4 on the top and 4 on the bottom. Those will need to be removed on both ends.
Inside of this. Straight back. There we go. Oh, it's that pump.
Yeah, pump is heavy, yeah. In most cases, due to the weight of the heat exchanger and the headers, it's best to remove the headers by removing these bolts.
If you're cleaning a heat exchanger, keep in mind you also need to clean between the fins, not just the bottom. Flue gases and heat are going to wrap around these fins and then out the top. On the top, we have V-baffles that are in position. You can take out these cross members and remove the V-baffles so you can also get in clean in between the fins. Inspect the gasket material and again your refractory block. If needed, you want to replace this block. Also, this gasket, this 1-inch strip, that's not anything that's really sold in the manual as a part number. So if you do want to order it through the manufacturer, just call over to customer service and calculate out how many feet you need, and they'll give you a roll of example 10 feet or 8 feet or 6 feet. And then you can cut that sticky back, you can put that in position. So just inspect that. If it's in good shape, you don't have to worry about replacing it.
We're going to reassemble in reverse order.
Drop it down a little bit. Yeah, she's...
If you have any technical questions, please contact product support at 1-800-900-9276. Thank you.